400 bucks for a pair of tights? Yeah, you heard that right. These better be good. Hey everybody, my name is Luca, and perhaps you've seen me reviewing tennis rackets before, but today I'm going to talk about a piece of equipment that could supplement your on-court game. You see, tennis, or really any other court sport, can be pretty hard on your body, especially your knees, because of the sheer amount of lateral movement you're doing on quite an abrasive court material. Injuries can happen, and it's also a good idea to actively work to prevent those injuries, especially if you have a history of issues. That's where these Stoko tights come in, and that's why, to a lot of people, if they work, they're absolutely going to be worth the money. So what's actually going on here? What sort of technology is there? Because at first glance, they look like a fancier pair of tights. Taking a closer look though, you'll see the all-important webbing material that spans pretty much from the bottom of the tight all the way to the top here where you see these dials. Those cables in there, that's the bit of magic going on within these tights, and while they might not look like much, I promise you there is a lot to unpack here. These are high-strength Dyneema cables, Dyneema being a material that is 10 times as strong as steel, but also very light and extremely adaptable, especially after a period of break-in. The cables are engineered into the tights to provide medical grade level of support, especially to your knees. Now, I was really excited to put these to the test. One, because I play a lot of tennis, and as I'm getting older, I've realized I could do with a bit of extra support. But two, because I'm actually nursing a knee impact injury that I developed while running. It was really the perfect time for me to test these supposedly awesome tights, and then I tried putting them on for the first time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not easy. This is a high-tech piece of equipment, and squeezing into these tights with all the cables and BOA dials and whatnot, there is a very steep learning curve to it. You have to pop the BOA dials, stretch the waistband, and then slowly work them up your leg, pulling the cables with the tights. It's really not an easy thing to do. The first time I tried putting them on, it took me about 5 minutes, and I was getting pretty frustrated, and then I realized this is not a normal pair of tights. Paying 450 bucks isn't normal, and struggling to put them on isn't normal, but you know what? If you've ever had an injury stopping you from playing the sport you love, you won't care a darn bit if they do what they're supposed to do in the end. So I realized if struggling to put these on the first few times is the price I have to pay to keep my body healthy, then I am more than happy to do it. And sure enough, as soon as they were on, I realized there was something special here. Now, getting the right size is crucial, and I know that because I got the right size, and everything about the fit flows very naturally with my leg. The cables fall into the right grooves in your leg, and once they're on, there is this very seamless, comfortable fit to them, but you also instantly feel the support they're supposed to provide. It's a very unique sensation. As you tighten the BOA dials, you feel the whole legging cinching down onto your leg, but it's not a tight, uncomfortable squeeze. It's more like the cables are cradling your muscles firmly but comfortably in place. And what I appreciated most about this sensation is that it's certainly targeted towards the knee, but because the cables span the length of the tights, there's no awkward disconnect between the support you feel in your knee and the rest of your lower body. You see, with a normal knee brace, you strap it on and that's that. It does a good job of targeting that one specific area, but it feels a little awkward with the rest of your lower body being completely without support. My hips, my thighs, my knees, and even my calves, all those areas feel supported in these, and I love the balanced sensation that provides. Now, before I started playing, my main worry was, are they going to restrict the natural movement I need to do on a tennis court because they provide so much structure? As soon as I started doing my stretches, my shuffles, my grapevines, my high knees, I was shocked with how naturally they flexed with those movements. Those cables that provide such strong support in the directions they're supposed to also somehow allow almost full range of motion where you want it. It's really quite fantastic, and it's a testament to this product being properly researched and developed, because any tennis player will tell you the last thing we want is to feel restricted when we're moving towards the ball. Now, how about the support when you're actually playing? Because that's the most important thing here. That's why you're paying all this money. It felt great at home, but how does it actually translate to the court? Well, as I've been nursing this injury, one of the main issues I've had is exploding off my right leg when hitting a forehand or a backhand. It's been more difficult to do, and even sometimes a little painful as that area strains. And what's happened over time is that I avoid doing that motion and compensate with other muscles. What the cables do here is keep everything nice and tight and structured around the knee, almost pushing the muscles into place to work as efficiently as possible for any movement that involves that bending motion. It creates a sensation of stability and support, and the best way I can describe it is that it just feels incredibly solid when you're moving. It really is kind of crazy to think that a pair of tights like this can make you feel that way, but they do. My pain level was about 80% less, which made me feel like I didn't have to avoid using those muscles around the injured area nearly as much. I was able to move much more confidently because the pain wasn't as severe, but also because there was so much support around my knee that I knew I wasn't going to aggravate it. Those Those of you who have had an injury before know that feeling of an area being completely exposed and feeling like any sort of strain to it is going to set you back in the recovery process. It's not a fun feeling, and I'm not saying tear your ACL, throw these on, and you'll feel like new again, but they work like a brace where you do feel like that extra support is helping you out. Also, these BOA dials control the amount of tension applied to the cables. You can adjust them to how much support you want, and you can even do more on one leg than the other. I cranked them down pretty tight, and sure enough, the support increased, and I also didn't feel like they got any less comfortable or more restrictive as I was tightening. To me, it's that non-restrictive and full seamless lower body wrap that you don't get with a brace that is so much more complementary to the natural movements you make on a tennis court. These are significantly better than a brace, that much is obvious, but now let's talk about breathability, because I started testing these when it was still 12 degrees in Vancouver, so it wasn't an issue then, but on my last session it was closer to 24. I was impressed by the breathability here, but it is important to get the right model. These are the full-length Flux tights, which are ventilated without insulation. Don't get the summits if you're going to be playing tennis in the heat. That ventilation is in all the right areas, especially around what I'm going to call the knee pit area where you want heat to escape. And even though this is quite a dense weave of nylon and Lycra, I didn't have any issues with overheating and I sweat a lot. Again, this is a well-engineered product. It better be for that price, but they've really left no stone unturned, and breathability is something that could have turned a lot of people off of something like this, but it's great. Also, I obviously have the black ones here, but I would maybe go for the white ones if you're playing in a warm and sunny climate. They may get more dirty over time, but will probably feel even cooler. Now, taking them off is just as annoying as putting them on. It does get a little bit better over time, but I really didn't care. In fact, I was smiling as I was taking these off. When you put into perspective how much it sucks to be injured, you realize that a little inconvenience like that is just that. It's laughable. Yeah, they're not as user-friendly as normal leggings, or even a brace for that matter. They're also significantly more expensive, but in the end, it really doesn't matter because they're so much more effective at what they're supposed to do. I'm going to keep wearing them for sure. They are a bit of a miracle product, and I couldn't be happier with my experience reviewing them. So great work, Stoko, and thank you so much for watching.